In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie.
I would say for every child that's over-encouraged, there's 1,000 that are under-encouraged. And you obviously don't want to push so hard that your relationship is disrupted. And so to some degree, you have to calibrate your interactions with each child. And you do that even with discipline. Some children you can just shake your finger at when they're misbehaving and that'll stop them. And other kids are really stubborn and put up a really remarkable fight. And so there's not even a universal prescription for disciplinary measures. And there's wide cultural variation in the answer to that question as well. I mean, first generation Asian immigrants have disproportionately successful children. And it looks like the reason for that is that they push and they instill in their children conscientiousness. And that gives them what's equivalent to about a 15-point IQ advantage. That disappears by about the third generation, by the way. So I think we probably under-push as a culture. That's my sense. But it's very, very difficult to tell. And I think partly we under-push because, well, there's first this misapprehension that if you discipline your children, you'll destroy their creativity. And that's just not true. That's based on a misapprehension of creativity. And I also think often it's an excuse for not engaging as well. I don't want to push my child too hard. It's like, well, yeah, really, you just don't want to take the time. My father spent an awful lot of time with me when I was a kid, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, especially learning to read. And it was a tremendous gift to me. And I'm thrilled that he did it. And he had extremely high standards, but I don't think he pushed me, at least with reading. What he did was encourage me. And that's a skill and a gift to manage that with your children, isn't it? To encourage them.
It's that balance. And I'm sure there's a lot of people right now listening to the show that have kids that are dealing with this day in and day out, because it is that, where do you cross that line? I'm just maybe pushing too much of my dreams onto my kid.
That's another thing you can do exactly, is live out your unlived dreams through your children. Look, you shouldn't be any easier on your children probably than the world is going to be. If you overprotect your children, or if you're too forgiving, and in our culture it's hard to believe that there could be such a thing as too forgiving, you don't prepare them well for how they're going to be received in the world. And there's definitely something useful in setting high standards for your children. And look, you do this with your partner too. You want to set high standards, but you want to modify them so they're achievable. And you want to be participating in that game as well. And you can tell if you're pushing too hard, you're going to demoralize the child. And if you're not pushing at all, well, then you're not there. You're not attending to them. And so you want to set high standards that are also attainable. But even having said that, there's still a gray area that's very difficult to play with.
I'm Ryan Roxie, and I've taken all my years of experience of playing guitar, and I want to pass the torch of rock and roll on to you. Check out the System 12 Guitar Method.
I don't give a damn about the major